Hello, everybody. Alright, there we go. I think I got it working properly. The name is Raz, and I'm going to be doing a VOD review of Legacy versus Direwolves Game 1. This happened beginning of the week. This was pretty much the first game, I think, that happened. Actually, EUCS qualifiers happened. That was on 6.10. This one I'm picking out because, well, it's a personal thing. I guess I'm closer to this. I'm close to this region. And I promised I'd do it, so this channel I'll be doing a lot of other VOD reviews, just pretty much around the world. NALCS, EULCS when that starts, etc., etc. LCK, LPL, mostly LPL because I also love that region. So, all right, let's go. For people who don't know both of these teams are rather good in their region, respective region. I think that if you were to compare them to, let's say, NA, I think they are just below NA Challenger in a sense. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's just start with this VOD review. Um, both teams, Legacy, Direwolves. Team comps. Let me just go through Big Ben here.
Looks like we will be seeing the Victor followed by that
I'm not
Kindred
gonna do too much
kicking
on
off
Big
the
Ben.
game
I'm just gonna
here.
really, cause
Victor such
every region has their own kind of priority, right? So now I may not agree with it.
a
I may
strong
not think
champion,
it
but the
be proper, but it is the way it is. So these are the final pick bands. Um, Kindred just dropped right through priority, so Legacy were able to get Kindred. First pick Echoes perfectly fine. That's great. That's really good. They have Victor, all that good stuff. That's always
all right.
nice.
I'm following
Um,
it.
I don't like the Graves in this meta. It's not like I don't like him. I'm not saying that he's just bad, right? I'm saying that he's dropped down in priority. Um, so one big thing that I want to focus on, and I'm going to use this time to do it, for the meta is that so priority changed from, well, in the previous meta you worked towards, you played solely towards the lane
Exactly
advantage,
right here, and you
the
mentioned the
the the,
similarities
the,
between the
the
Fizz and
lane
the Zed with
um
these assassins
played
with great
towards lane
escape
priority and
options should they ever
towers
need them here.
specifically.
But
You kind of like
Victor,
didn't really worry too much
it's
about
hard
the
once you
dragon
go in on
objectives because
Victor. He just chucks you
especially
up
early
over here,
on,
actually followed by the Chaos
you
Storm. And
you would
it
trade
doesn't have the silence
tower
on it
for a
anymore,
dragon
but
quite
what
easily,
got
right?
taken, it was
Or you can just
replaced with
forego
something more than
dragon to kind of to to create
Now,
tempo. The
running
team that
the
went towards
teleport
dragon
as well on the
would lose
Victor
out in the
actually
long
runs the
run
risk
because
of being killed by
uh,
Phoenix. And
the
well,
opposing team would
yes,
say, well,
Fnatic is running a teleport of his own,
we're
but the
setting
burst
up
is pretty
tempo and pushing
unreasonable
towards top side,
instantly
right?
from that
So
Fizz, and I think there is definitely some
towers
potential
had
for
more
a
value
rotate
last meta.
well, they're both
This
they've
meta,
both got the
it's
teleport, so
different.
they are going to be able to
You
match
can
each
actually
other,
look
like you mentioned,
to
go combat some
play
sort of
towards those
barrier, no
objectives.
heal, and
Only
of course,
exception
guys,
here
we
is
are
Cloud
early
Dragon. So
into
the
this
reason why
game. We've
this is all
changed things
coming
up a
back
little
to
bit. We've got
Graves here.
hashtag
Graves is really
LGC now,
strong in tower
hashtag
pushing. He
Team
had really good team
W
fights
win.
as well, so
Get
that's
on
why I think
Twitter, make
he
your
hasn't
voice
dropped
known,
off
show your
completely. Is
support for
because
these
later
teams.
his general
Feeling good
sustained
about this
damage and
Legacy
team
team,
fights
because
are
look,
pretty strong.
Legacy against Direwolves, you can never go wrong.
Problem
Every
is,
single time we see
I
these
think
teams
Rek'Sai
play, it's been
Rek'Sai
epic
priority
series to say
increases,
the
and other
least.
junglers too that
Direwolves
really
with their
haven't really been
slashes, they
like
always
haven't
want to
been
give it to
discussed. For instance,
Legacy,
like I think
but
much
they
later
always
on,
come back
people
fighting
will
and
start to
try to
revisit like
absolutely
Nunu.
disrespect the Direwolves as
Lee
well.
Sin's already coming back. Honestly, it's the Sightstone junglers,
And
the
excited to
junglers that
see
can create
just how
the
well these
vision
two
or
greats
vision control
of the
around
OPL
Riverside, because
Team
River
Sword and New Blood can
is
accomplish in
well,
3
Dragonside
games.
River, and even
We've seen
topside, like
two of the
topside
greats
River
getting
around
a similar
Rift
3.
Herald, that also changed,
Absolutely, and once
is
again, we are
the
going to
values
start with a
increased. So
Keystone Master. Is nothing
um,
surprising when
going
he
back to
stands out this
just to
time. So really allude
simplify it,
toward those
Graves doesn't really is
two
not really strong in
options and
punishing
sort of
because he
start with
he
a
has a
fan
pretty
strategy here for both of these
long-winded
teams.
build.
I'm going to
Takes a
say
while
it's
for it to
less
go through,
expected.
and he
Usually when
can't really
people
punish
fan
much off vision
the assumption
control
that
that
lane
Kindred
swap's
can,
about to
that
happen, but nobody wants to
Rek'Sai
be
can.
aggressive at level 1
They
just
have
yet.
hard CC. They have
No one really
like
deciding that invades are the way to go.
oh well,
Besides the
Kindred just has the
RP1
team fighting. He may
and
not go
the
Sightstone,
jungles
but
in the
overall
side.
he has the slow as well.
So
So
Cloud is
and
going
he
to
has
get
the team
awarded
fighting with his
right
ulti
over the
already.
halfway
So
mark. Allows him
Kindred's
to
the
envision
exception
to
because he's also
perform
Devourer as well.
and
So
want to get a little bit more than they're
Graves
entitled to
is
here.
a little bit harder simply because yeah
So
he's a
Trubbish is
warrior
the
jungler and
Maokai
all
things,
that
throwing
nonsense.
out saplings, getting a little bit of experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, already came back through a solid point. So one big thing, minions have spawned, right? But a little bit earlier, as you can see, Carbon dropped in a ward fairly early, like 1 minute into the game, like maybe 1 minute 10 seconds. Um, a problem that I see with that is that you don't know where the enemy bot is right here, because you've sent your dual lane up top for a lane swap. Now, there are a few problems that I see in this lane swap because first of all, if you don't know where the dual lane is, and if you've shown that you have warded deep in their jungle, which it's a soft ward in their jungle, but it's deep enough for them to go through mid and look to invade. They can just like if you're looking through, look at my mouse right now, they can walk through this lane and they can just go for a 5-man invade, especially since they have the Braum, they can do that. So don't give the opportunity for the enemy team to do that. He should be warding like at the edge of the river around here. Just this area in general, because you will still have the reaction. He probably warded that just in case of, because they don't know where the dual lane is, the direwolves dual lane. So maybe they also swapped, right? Maybe they caught the swap and maybe they're like going in for a an invade. You can still catch the invade if you put the ward here. Not only do you catch that, but you can also like it just gives you a lot of information. I feel like the ward that he put down doesn't give you much, and it actually sacrifices quite a bit. But direwolves don't really take advantage of it because they're dual lane bots, so that's fine. Big point here is that they're going in for a lane swap. They're starting um on their Grump. I don't think that's like I think they can actually like if they're initiating the line swap, I think they should start um the Wraith camp or whatever it's called. If they start their Wraith camp, they get so much off of it. They get because generally speaking, the enemy invade force, it'll take some time for them to actually get caught, right? Like if Lykuden's walking in right now, it takes some time. They would have actually been able to clear that before coming in. Another worst point is that Legacy actually sends in their dual lane a little late, so direwolves were able to get their red buff off this, which is really, really unlucky for this. No, not unlucky, just poorly played. So not only were they not able to eke out a small advantage in starting their red side Wraith camp, but they will have a 1 buff start because direwolves were able to get the red buff on that start. So overall, just bad. It's just messy. They could do a lot to get that work done. Um, is that the second wave? I'm looking at the top side just to see what wave they're pushing on. If it's 2 waves or 3 waves, you can do a 3-wave start on this patch. You can just barely do it, but it's doable. Like basically a 2-wave start is basically on the second wave you start hard pushing. You send your top side. So no, it looks like they did 3 waves because Echo's going on after the I think like third camp. So they'll just start up on it. That's nothing. I know one big thing. The camera is just like focusing towards the mid lane, and right now the mid lane is probably the most unimpactful lane. I don't even care if he gets ganked. Well, he shouldn't even be pushing up this hard, but he's positioned where he can just walk towards his team, so that's like he's fine. Like there's no reason for the cameraman to be looking mid. The HP on the turrets are the most interesting part because it shows if they're going to be pushing to tier 2, which they shouldn't, right? It shows that like when they're resetting, what's happening on like it's who's faster specifically. That's all you really care about. Um, okay, okay. So like this is good. I'm just gonna pause it right here. So dual lane has enough time here. So if and they're just gonna reset early. I don't like that. They need to be carrying more. And by the way, before I continue with that, I'm just gonna take annotations off. Okay. I'm just gonna check if yeah, okay, recording's going strong. Um, if they have this time, they should be thinking about their top laner a little bit more. They have 2 trinkets on them, and they haven't put down a single lane swap ward. So what they should do, and this just comes to looking at bots. I think because I have not seen a single OPL team do this yet in this regular season. I know it just started, but even in the last season, teams didn't consistently do this, and it was shown through like honestly something that the Chiefs had to learn when going into the IWCI. So, okay, Lucian has a ward, Braum has a ward. Honestly, Lucian can just back. I don't really care about him. Um, Braum, if you have time, if he's not hitting this tower, because like you could, Chippies can just finish this off. He can ward um, down this lane. It's maybe it doesn't show, but like pretty much through the lane, ward it down like just out of vision of the tier 2 tower. If you do that, and if Graves puts down his ward in the red side jungle, um, so basically what ends up happening is you know that the enemy dual lane once pretty much they finish up their tower, they're just gonna reset and go bot side, right? And when they walk past the ward and the tier 2 turret, once they walk past that ward, and once they walk past the ward that Graves would have placed down, that gives time for Chippies to know when he should back, when he should push. I mean, hard push, like, right? Because he's just gonna be last hitting these turrets because he doesn't want it to lose his bounced wave, right? The wave's bounced, it's perfect. He doesn't want it to push in because then that's when hell can break loose. It depends. Like you give the enemy team the option to do what they want at that point. So he would be last hitting the moment you see, and the earlier the better. The moment you see them rotating bot off that ward, he can just hard push, hard push, hard push to just like basically fuck up their tempo. And the hard like it works for him because he can eke out a CS advantage, get as much CS as possible, and you pretty much play to you just play to um your limits. But he can't do this because he doesn't have any vision, right? He can only so basically from his point of view, the moment Ezreal and Janna leave vision, he's like, okay, well he's in the dark. How long he has until he should back. If he doesn't back on time, um, then you have the risk of pretty much Kindred rotating bot as well, because of course he's gonna be pathing towards the bot side to get the the, the camps in his red side and the enemy blue side, and so he runs the risk of getting ganked, 3-man, and then dying, and that just like completely fucks your lane swap. Or he backs too early, and the enemy team, let's say if Tally was in the on the proper side of this lane swap. Let's say if his team plays it out properly and he just ekes out that small CS lead, right? Or experience. The experience is the one that matters. Then he comes out of the lane swap like at a decent, like a good point and a good advantage in an already like good matchup. So once they do end up um, matching, then he's just already like sure he has the better matchup. But then not only does he have the better matchup, but he just has more experience in CS. So you don't want to run into that situation. So, thankfully for Chippies, you can see that Legacy does the exact same thing. They don't like now it's a lot easier for you to notice. So like Janna's back in here, Ezreal's back in here, um, Kindred is over here. They don't even put down the wards. Like the ward I'm talking about is like around here, and one in this area right here. They don't put any proper wards down, so Echo's in the same boat where he doesn't know how much he needs to push. So let's see, Chippies just backs away. Let's see what Tally does, because I want to see what he does specifically to deal with this. He hides in a bush, okay. Does he just back? Because this is a problem. Let's look at this. He just backs. That's what it looks like it's happening. I'm just going to pause because I need to put my headphones in, because it's beeping. Okay, there we go. So, he just backs, right? Let me just wait until he backs completely. Lucian hasn't even went halfway down this lane. Like, and basically look where the wave is. He could push this wave completely. The next wave that comes, like if they put down that ward, he would have the world of time. Like, let's just wait. I'm not even gonna be paying attention. This is just a distraction. What's happening, man? I'm gonna be looking towards top side. Right here. You'd see Lucian right now, right? And he would be hard shoving this lane. And the fact that Braum is actually not even showing up with him, he would have a lot more time, basically, even when Braum shows up, to just keep shoving this wave. He would basically, like, once this happens and he backs away toward his bot, basically that messes with Lucian. Like, he gets a good advantage, right, in the CS department. And experience. He gets a lot of experience, he gets a lot of CS, but also he messes up like the Direwolves tempo. So they can't put they would have had a fast push in this scenario because look where they are. Like right? He's already starting this push. Now Brahm's not with him. He's just helping out with the nonsense mid. But look where the dual lane for Legacy is. They haven't even reached this point. So they're gonna be behind. And if he had forced this shove right here, he would have been in a good
Answers
spot.
with one of his own.
Anyways,
Even Braum's here to join the
let's play
party,
this
so
out.
whilst they'll say yes, bit off more than
Depending on
you
how...
can chew, Carbon
Okay, so
does
Brom's backing
benefit
now.
this mid lane further
Whoop.
from
So
his
let's see the
2
benefit
seconds
of
kill, which
Echo
is entirely possible right now.
Has to
coming
flash,
in
couldn't
early.
Of course, the teleport advantage then
So he's gonna help push,
would
right?
match summoner spells
Now
burn
he's
as well
sharing
based on
XP
his
with
middle lane, so
Ezreal.
that's still
So that's
because the
already
outside
something bad.
lanes, as we're currently looking at Legacy's bottom lane,
Okay, but
Just
they
taking
they get there
plans. They're
first.
just doing lane swap things right
Carbon
now.
gets the
Sybil
cheeky
gets him.
kill on
they've
Graves.
already
I don't really care about
looked
that.
in the scub fight for it, but funny because the non-essential already
Okay.
quick respawn.
So, oh,
As
by
they
the way,
mark
I
one.
I didn't even mention this. So, they have Ocean Drake that's up, right? Ocean Drake is up. It's pretty valuable. Some people debate of how valuable it is. So you'll see people who'll say, "Oh, it's the best dragon buff to take right early." Like they would rate it the first one because it's really strong in laning phase. Then it got nerfed, but some people still rate it fairly highly. Other people say it's the third or at least the second worst, but it's still rather strong, right? You still want to contest it. Now, after the first swap, Direwolves sends their dual lane top. This is pretty bad for them because since um a legacy initiated the lane swap, they'll end up on the bot side of the map, and they'll end up pretty much in a positive trade already because you're near the dragon, you can pretty much rotate like you know how people in the last meta they would rather be on the top side of the map because once you take the tower, you can rotate to Rift Herald, and once you take Rift Herald, you can have that push bot with a massive wave and start to threaten. You get so much more out of it than the first dragon, which really just doesn't give you anything. In this sense here, it's actually the opposite, where you get the ocean, but you can't really get Rift Herald because it's too big, it's too massive in an objective, especially when you're like level 3s, you can't do it. And it still has high value. It has lower values since it scales off leveling. So you would rather want it like 14, 15 minutes around there. Early levels, it doesn't give you that much. And even if you could have like, even if like you still can't take it because it's too beefy and does way too much damage. So they found themselves on the top side of the map. The option is also you can just kind of send your dual lane back bot. Um, so you can contest the dragon. Now they don't even have to do that because they're already in fast and tempo. They already just took the tower, so they're not even gonna bounce it. Basically, they're forcing them off of that objective. So if Legacy were to say peel back and say, okay, we take the tower and now we're going for dragon, well, guess what? Dire Wolves are like, well, we just not only are we faster in tempo, but we're pushing you to tier 2. We can either threaten that tower, which is not very strong. You get like threatening tier 2 is extremely difficult early. So what's better for them is just to reset off that, put down your wards, reset, go back bot. You'll have the faster tempo because the worst thing what they have to do is they'll end up pushing their dual lane top, and they'll have a much slower tempo. So they're gonna always be answering to you, and you can pretty much do whatever you want. If they defend bot lane tower, then you can just rotate mid. This is going to be the response going forward in the patch pretty much. So let's just play this out. I took too much time just like
Wanted to fight for
not
it, but
watching.
Carbon was there already.
So
Quick
as you can see
respawn
here,
time. It's
okay,
come to
I want to see what they
backfire,
do
and
with this.
it's funny because the non-essential factor of
Ba, ba,
lane swap is
ba.
always going to be the jungler
Okay,
and the
so they
mid lane
push it
are the two
in.
things that can influence,
Legacy
but
can't
don't
even do
have to.
the
They
dragon,
now got a 2-0
so they're just gonna
objective to
send their dual lane
contest
top,
in
right?
this middle lane. Thankfully
But the
for
mission's
Legacy,
already
I think so.
accomplished.
There was enough
Darrow's are gonna
to
reset.
let him
They
pick
should send their
up
dual
that
lane.
Negatron cloak, allowing him to survive,
Let's see.
if
I'd say
not
they
for a little
should
bit
send their dual
longer
lane bot.
against
They want to
this
threaten that
very
bot tower
aggressive
because
Victor
there is
in the
no
mid
way
lane.
that
We see Tally just gonna be
Legacy
freezing
can
that
respond to
wave,
this on
getting the
time.
minions
Like
ready.
it'll be
The other thing
really
to talk
awkward for them.
about
You're
as
just
well,
gonna be
whilst we're on
constantly
John,
pressuring them,
remember
but they're
jungle
sending
recently made
their
changes in
Maokai
one
bot.
the jungle
Now
items
it's good for
for the
Maokai because
full
think of it
experience.
this way.
Oh, there we
Now I don't want
go.
to look
Red
at this
buff
mid lane turn.
really keeping
I'm just
him
gonna let it go, and
inside.
you're gonna
One more tick should do it.
just
Minky
think of the
Wiles
mid lane right
steals
now as a
that one with
distraction. Don't
Zephyr.
even think about it.
Not sure he
So
needed that, but
sure,
better
it's
safe
easier
than
for Maokai
sorry,
to get
I
the bottom
guess.
wave, right?
Fairy claps for
Um,
Minky Whale. He wanted to
because
assist
well the
and
wave is
grab
in a
himself a kill.
really good spot, but you have to think of
However,
that wave as an
definitely
aggressive
not
way. Like take
necessary.
that wave and
He has
push
the
it
kill
in,
now.
Sure.
Minky is
and
maybe
recognize that you
also
bounce the
forced to
top wave
realise he
because
didn't
you
want this.
want to put
As
your
I was
top
going
laner
to say
top.
before,
Like, since you successfully bounced that wave on the second tier turret, you know it's coming back eventually topside. So the Maokai, what he can do is he can rotate mid, like he can like hover mid, I mean.
You're trying to get your point across, Rusty,
Now,
but they're
I
not
guess they
letting
went
it
out
in.
anyways because King
He's
gets
gonna get
caught,
taken down
and
by
I feel like Janna has been mid for
forever.
forever. But yeah, Maokai can hover mid. He can take the Krug camp. Well, Krug right now is actually yeah, he can take the Krug camp, and he can just pretty much go top side with like some. He needs like some wards pretty much. He needs some help, but he can just be patient as possible because he knows that the play is happening bot, and they are much faster in the push. And so all he needs to do is disrupt them top, and then once the wave is starting to crash bot, he can either look to rotate or just TP. If anything, it has to be a reaction TP because they have the push. Anyways, that's how hypothetical. What they've done is they've pretty much killed the Ezreal, and they're just gonna reforce that lane back topside, which is also an option, but is not a reliable option. So, Tally is gonna try and mess with the wave, but it feels like, yeah, they're just gonna bring in Graves. So this has been a good game for Direwolves so far. They've been able to basically outplay them in the early game. Now one of the downsides is that of going topside is that, of course, they lose the Ocean Dragon. They could have just gone back bot, had the same like tower pressure, then at the same time had the pressure on the dragon. They would have like most teams in this situation would have just won based off of that, right? That just like based off that tempo alone, you can win a game. Anyways, Legacy's starting to push this fat wave. Graves needs to back, I think. He needs to back because this wave is gonna threaten. Now they don't have much of a diving force. Ezreal, Janna, Kindred, it's not really threatening. Lucian should just come through the wave. I don't know what he's doing going that way. He kind of wastes time. And one thing you don't want to do is waste time. Anyways, just give that wave to Maokai. He's a bit behind because of all that nonsense that happened earlier. And by the way, as you can see, if you just look at the CS lead, Maokai's behind by 10 CS, right? And initially he was actually ahead in the lane swap. So the lane allocation, I think, was incorrect. They would have gotten a lot more if they had put Maokai top into the bounced wave. But he just got denied pretty much. He just got pushed in and denied on that tower, so. So now what do they want to do? This is a interesting development. Okay, they're just pushing their Braum, Graves into the red side jungle, while Lucian's. So they're pretty much going to be doing exactly what they should have done before. It might be a little bit harder. Echoes is pushing up the wave top actually, so it's going to be easier for Maokai. Maokai just needs to take the Krug and then go towards the wave. That's fine. Graves needs to be positioned. He's going to he's not in the right place, I don't think. He needs to be walking towards the bot side tower. I know they took out that I know that he took out the camps there, so he's just kind of like trying to clear out everything. But you need to be there for when the wave's crashing, to just defend the wave. So right here is when the wave's crashing. And I know that like the camera's just looking mid, but just please look at the mini-map, because the mini-map is the most important part. If the camera doesn't like follow the action, then I don't know what else to say. The cameraman just is probably a mid laner, because he sees the value in that. Okay, so Legacy's just trading these objectives for towers, and it's not the right trade to make right now. Direwolves could make so much. Like, they could have. Wow, that was an awful double TP. That was actually game losing. No, it wasn't game losing, but it was pretty bad. But honestly, is he gonna die?
Here we go.
Is he just?
Here we go.
I'm tilted. Okay. No, I think he lives. I think he lives. Okay. That was interesting. Legacy is just trading these objectives for towers, and you shouldn't be happy in being able to do that. Fantix misses that. That's fine. So with let's just say, okay, let's pause. Let's refresh our minds. A lot has happened so far. Direwolves have put themselves in a position where they literally have all the turrets, right? It's 4-2, and numbers almost mean nothing. It just depends where the towers are down. And they have the two outer side turrets and inner side turrets. Um, so right now the objective should be the mid lane outer. How do you get that though, right? They have Fizz, um, Fizz, Maokai, Graves, Lucian, Braum. You don't have much of a siege comp. So you need to recognize that the way you get this tower, and we'll see if they end up doing it, right? But the way you end up getting this tower is not going to be based off of just pure sieging. In fact, Legacy should be able to just insta clear if you decide to force that point because they have Janna, Ezreal, Victor. Like they also have Kindred if they want, and Echo. That is probably the most. If you hard focus on this wave clear mid, you're not gonna have a good time. You have a 1-3-1 comp. You can just send Fantix back, and you can send him back bot. You can send him bot, and so you can get the Maokai top, Fantix bot, and you can just pretty much push these waves in on the sides and choose which which jungle you want to control. They don't have many pinks on them. They have one. They have two pretty much on Lucian and Braum. Um, Jungle should be getting one as well. Maybe he didn't have the right amount of gold, right? So that's fair. But choose which way. So if they have two pinks on their bot line, then wherever they send their bot, which is gonna be mid, um, they should task them with the wards pretty much. It's gonna be hard for Lucian since Lucian should be staying mid. So we'll just play this out.
Monsters stood no chance.
It should be basically Braum and Graves leading them towards. I think they have a lot of. They should just use their bot lane, bot side vision. They have a lot of vision on the red side jungle for the enemy team. So off of Fizz pushing all the way bot, they should just invade that red side jungle, put down some pinks. No, actually, they're just getting siege done.
That was nailed by the close.
How did that allow that? Oh, they allowed. Of course, they allowed that to happen. So their dual lane rotated mid late, and Fantix didn't back. So they just because they're not forcing any pressure on their side waves. They're allowing Legacy to just kind of siege up mid. Let's see if it turns into anything. Maokai's not mid. Fantix is taking too long. They just pretty much let themselves get dove. Especially if you have a. Are they just gonna? Okay. Oh wait a minute. They get this. Huh? Question mark? Okay, they get nothing. So, especially if you have that 1-3-1 comp, you can't afford to just sit there doing nothing, right? You have to be active. And if the moment you're not active in this comp, you're just gonna get sieged down and die. Like, you're gonna have to answer to them. And since you've had such a massive, you had so much tempo early, like, just based off of your side wave pressure and the towers that you were able to take. So you can even push like 3 wave sides, and they'll have to answer to it, right? Because they only have inhib turrets to basically defend off those waves. So they should always have the tempo, but they're not even thinking about it. That's what it feels like. So they're still like, well, they're kind of behind in gold, but they still have a chance because even though they lost their mid turret, it doesn't have that much value here right now. The value right now is in their sides. So they need they should just keep Lucian mid as they're doing. Like right now they have the right assignments. They just need to be a little patient. Wait, why is Maokai rotating mid? Okay, Maokai doesn't have TP. So like, yeah, they're kind of in a tough spot because they should be playing 1-3-1. Their TPs are not up, but they should still be playing these sides, right? They should just be a little bit more careful mid because they don't have the immediate response from their side lanes. Maokai is just hovering. He's kind of like putting himself in a worse position. Fizz pushes one way. Honestly, I think Fizz can push another wave. He does well against Echo, I'm pretty sure right now. Let's see what the. Okay, so he has Abyssal. Echo has. I think it should be fine. I think it's debatable. Okay, so they're just gonna try this, go for this dragon. I think it's much easier for him to go this dragon if the Fizz pushed out that one extra wave, but hey, I don't think maybe a Legacy's not going to be able to contest this, right? Earth Dragon's pretty valuable, so let's see if they do get it. Yeah, this is easy. That's free. I think Legacy just kind of messed up. They just weren't in position, right? So, okay, so they push in the extra mid wave. I guess Legacy just decides to take the mid wave. What are they going to use with it though? What are they going to do? They could just rotate towards top, right? No, that would be. Let's see. Yeah, it depends on how large the wave is.
Looking at
It's
a
not okay. That
session looking
top
for a
wave's not
raise,
large at
Fantic's
all.
always going to be important. Sybil, he's doing perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's not large enough. If it
He's
was a
got his
large
eyes
enough
fully
wave, maybe
focused
they
for
can
what is
rotate
taking
top
place.
side and threaten that top
Direwolves
tower,
by
but
no means
nope.
out of this game. I think the
Oh, it
biggest
looks like they're
problem
doing it
here comes
anyways.
down to Tally being ahead of
Maybe.
Chippies if you're a Direwolves.
No, they're taking too long.
If you're a Legacy
They're
fan,
indecisive,
Tally
it
being ahead
feels.
of anybody is a big win.
Yeah, definitely right.
Okay.
And that's why
So
he gets
Jana
to
goes
deal with
top
the same
for,
mistake.
I feel like,
The
no reason.
Fantics can be relegated down to deal with Tally here because the Chippies.
Maybe they're just gonna go for this next wave, right?
Solo pushing in this top lane as the Giant.
Oh, here comes the
demanding
TP.
respect. Carbon though.
They're going in
gets
for this
caught out,
fight.
Forces the teleport out of
Not a
Tally.
great-
Okay, so I don't think
Those
Daryl's
teleport
recognized that.
locations, guys, not ideal. Fantix's fish is on.
Oh, it is
Yeah, they
onto
definitely did
Tally,
not
probably the
recognize.
worst member
Okay,
here,
so
Kuden and
let's
Fantic
start
make-
before this fight even continues. Who knows how this turns out, right? I don't like. So Fizz was making pretty good game spot, and honestly, if they kept Lucian mid, or if like, yeah, if you kept Lucian mid and if you rotated on the next wave, they would have been in a better position because they could threaten on the mid wave, right? But they didn't even I felt like Darrow's didn't even recognize that they were safe top because the wave that Legacy were trolling in did not, it wasn't large enough. That wave was gonna die, and it did die off of Chippy's just kind of um, just pretty much destroying it with his combo. So then the threat was gonna be the next wave, and even then it's not gonna be a cannon wave, right? So they have a lot of room to go with. But no, they all in on this when they had no. They could just pretty much play the game that they were already playing, where they can just push in mid, and Fantix can stay bot for the extra wave and just push in Echo, and they're good. But I feel like they're forcing this, and this is not a good situation, especially since Fizz used his ulti and it hit Echo. So
Everyone kind of
they
just
just
flexing what they've
the
got
best
right
way
now.
you can pretty
And
much
it's teetering
stop
on
this
that
from
knife
happening is
edge
by paying
because
attention to the
nobody's
wave
been
that's
able to
pushing onto
get
the turret
the
and
others as
talking,
Ooh,
speaking
that
to
was
each other as a
his
team.
advantage.
Hey, is that wave gonna?
Once again,
Is
not
that
getting
like which
anything.
wave are they gonna
Frostbite
threaten
gone
on?
just yet, so these
It wasn't gonna be that last wave.
Israel Qs aren't doing too much. Looks like they've got their sights
Um,
set on this tower. Defensive culling.
That's a pretty thin wave, but they have a lot of siege,
And
so
parallel
yeah, that's
convergence.
pretty
Yeah,
free.
he's going to die in any second now. The Chaos Storm should be enough to
They feel
finish
very
off a few more
indecisive.
as Tally
They
does
just
have the
need,
ultimate available. Ooh, he's playing
like,
with
okay,
fire right there.
they had a lot of
The
tempo
Legends
earlier
Smite
on in the
top of
game,
the monsoon, maybe
but they're
a
just
little bit
making
overkill,
decisions,
but
or at
looks
least
like
not
GG
making a
is gonna be
decision,
main
right?
focal point here. They're
And the
trying to
decisions
do
that
what
they make
can,
is far
and
too
Nomads
late
Mantle doing
or
what it can to keep him alive as
misguided.
Mantic goes
So
down, followed by Chippies.
Legacy is just starting to take this game when they had no, they pretty much lost everything in this lane swap, I thought.
First game of the second split.
So
Absolutely
it's
taking it to
kind
the
of unfortunate.
Direwolves, and they are
It just really
starting
comes down
run
to
away with
Legacy
this
having
game.
a better on-the-spot
Yeah, they're
calling.
killing it right
They know
now.
what to do
7
later on in the
kills to
game.
2 after
And
that
it's not even so
small
much that they know what to
big
do, but they'll
skirmish rather in the
they'll just
top
do
lane,
it.
about a
They'll push the
4,000
button.
5,000 gold lead in
Though I
favor
guess
of Legacy. Four
I guess
towers
Daryl's
and a
kind of just
dragon
gave
each
that fight
on
to them
either
with
team. That
the
just means that
Fizz
Legacy doing
TP,
such a
but he didn't have
great
to.
job of getting
But hey,
gold
sometimes
in
if you just force something,
other
even though
quantity
in
stat
that
terms.
scenario, I think they forced the wrong play. I think Legacy went for the wrong play, but you know what? Since they went for it, Daryl was like, wait, I don't know, maybe they can do it. So they respected it.
I'm
And I think they gave too
I'm
much respect to
That
it.
is admiration right there.
Take a
Rusty.
second to appreciate that. Okay, let's talk about
So
the
game
step,
looks
right?
pretty
Before he
hard
was a
now,
top
especially
laner,
since they
he
have
was
Fizz,
actually a
right?
mid laner. And when he was a mid
With this
laner,
composition,
he played Lux.
you need,
Sure.
like, it's sink or swim.
So when he
No
played
pun
Lux,
intended, since they have a
Lux
fish.
hasn't really changed. You would always
They
go
need the
Bijan.
threat for the side
I think you
waves,
would
I
always
mean
go
side lane
Bijan.
threat,
He transitions to
and I
top
think
lane.
off that
He
one
would play
play,
Lulu
Fizz
top
lost
lane,
everything.
and he would still
Um,
go Mejai's.
I don't
That
even think
made
he can
no
kill
sense. The team did not like him
the
for
Victor
it,
at this
but
point.
he definitely still went it.
Maybe
He's
he can,
going
maybe
into
that's a
the
lie,
support
but
role.
he definitely,
Let's not
I don't
really
think he
act
can kill
surprised
the
that he has a
Echo.
Mejai Soul Stealer.
So
A great little history lesson
gonna be
here with
pretty
Rusty.
difficult.
I've
Now they're
gotta say,
threatening
I
on this
am
wave.
admiring that build here as Fantic
Oh
does
Jesus, they're
get
just going
stunned
wave
up, but
after
they
wave,
really
and
want to
this
get this
point,
tower.
I
Tally
think this
forced
is
to ult
kind of
whilst on
disastrous.
full health. The shark comes through, only hitting Carbon and Tally. The tower is very
Yeah, they're just
low.
sieging on them.
Attack should do it. The Chaos Storm
Pretty much
is
Legacy's
in
just
the
playing their
back
game,
line.
and they're
The
just trying to
tower
force
does
them off
fall.
of all
No
these
one-
turrets,
No members fall.
brute
just the
forcing
tower.
them.
And
Not
this
even,
is
it's
just
not even like
pure
playing.
brute
They're not
force
even
out of
playing any
Legacy,
waves. In
right?
fact,
Like a 4K gold
the mid wave's
difference
pushing
is
in on
nothing.
Legacy, but
And to the point where
they're just
able to
brute forcing
get
these
faced,
lanes because
Direwolves
I guess
not
they
only
recognize that
sacking
they
the
can do
turrets
it.
without fighting,
That
they just have no control. They
And the worst thing
feel
about all
like
of this
they
is
are
that they
further
shouldn't even be able
behind
to.
than they are,
Like
and
think
it
of the
shows
mid
in
wave
the way
turret.
they're playing.
Think of the even the top wave turret, like all of these turrets,
holding that
Graves can
farm
actually
position.
Graves is actually really strong in being able to hold these
Even
towers
more
because
early.
he like you can
Inside the turret.
you should be like a
Getting
lot
early as this
more
game goes
liberal with
on,
your
you
ulti,
mentioned
right?
learning
You can
on the
ulti
job. He's
these
doing just
waves
that.
as long as
Seeing
you
the
know that there's
movements
a response happening in the
here
other
and there.
lanes,
It's
It's
also
and you're
like
gonna
the
be
other thing
able
to
to
consider,
hold
right? We're in week 1 of the
these
OPL.
like
I'm not sure
waves. In
if most
fact,
teams who play
when
against
Graves was
each
a
other
top
that
laner
know
and
each other
was
in the first place.
used as a jungler quite a bit,
Maybe they want to avoid
you can
splitting.
just
Maybe
like
it's
that
just
was the
the
common
setup
play.
depending on
You
availability
can
and
ult
what
these
sort of things.
waves that are getting
That's
pushed in on by the
Talon,
enemy
so of
team,
course learning on the
because
job.
while they're committing to
That's
this
having
wave,
to
if
be a
you just ult
squad
it
of
off, it's kind
actually
of like
more
when
active
it's kind of like
players
GP
that
ulting
know
a wave,
what
right?
strategy works.
If there's
It's an
if teams are
excellent point
trading
to make.
top
I
side and
think that
bot
just
side,
goes to show
then you just
just how
like GP
competitive
ulti the opposite wave,
this
and you're
scene is, where
100%
every
gonna
little
have
bit of
the faster
information
push
you can gather
because your
whilst
wave's
playing
protected
in
and
game can be crucial
they
to
can't
whether
protect
or
their
not you
wave.
take the
Like you can
W at the
never
end of the day.
guarantee that wave simply
Also, we
because
won't even worry about
well,
the feels.
Graves
You know,
ulti
it's really
uh
to move
comes out
towards
of
the
range
middle
and GP
stages
ulti
of
is
this
just
tournament.
literally like
It's really
unprotectable.
demanding.
20 minutes in.
So,
We see King and
um
EQL down on that bot
I mean the
side.
only
They've
way
already
that
got the
Graves
tower,
ulti isn't
just
protected,
keeping the
like
wave
isn't
pushed
like
up. They don't want Direwolves getting
unprotected
any
I mean,
funny ideas here and
is
trying
if
to
you have a Braum in the
push their
team so
own
you can just like
waves out.
block the
We are missing a little
collateral
bit.
damage.
I'm gonna call it
But
sloppiness of the
Graves is
last
the one
series
with
as
the
well,
with the
because
Braum on this
when a
team,
team
so like they
gets
don't even have a
advantages,
threat from
say
that.
Legacy breaks
So
those turrets, they don't overcommit to the team
uh
advantage. They get the one pick, they
so they're
get what
just
they
kind
can
of
with it,
getting pushed
and
on
they
and
back
falling
away
over,
smartly. So
it looks
But
like. Let's
both
see if
these
anything
teams
happens here.
experience to know
So they get to the
fight or flight
dragon
here as
next.
the
Ah,
Nitro
it's
gets
another
on.
earth dragon.
This will be a
So
first for
this would
Legacy
be
as
the Legacy's
the
second
early
dragon.
kill for them was
They
the
had
air.
cloud dragon.
Ocean
No,
Ops.
no, it wasn't cloud. It was ocean dragon. So now they have ocean dragon and earth dragon compared to Direwolves' earth dragon and just one earth dragon.
Blue's a tricky color
And quite
sometimes,
honestly, if Direwolves had
as we
played
see.
a little more,
Still, can you fix it?
uh,
It's one of those things where it's kind of like green,
I
it's
guess
kind of blue.
just better, I suppose, right?
It's gonna
If
be
they played a little
fine.
better, they would
Kind
have
of,
gotten a
but
second earth dragon, and that would have just been
of
game.
course it is Fantix here.
Wait, what's going on here? Why
Oh
did
well.
these TP come down?
Today.
But anyway,
Let's watch this
go,
play.
but
So they push out mid,
looks
right?
a lot like the air one.
Are they what are they threatening for?
But
Is
anyways,
that
enough
tower?
about
Yeah,
them.
that
Well,
mid
the dragon's
outer tower's
actually
up
different,
and
so
available.
it
Oh
could be
well,
enough attention
So that's what
to
they're just playing towards right
the
now.
dragon's got a
sure.
funny looking
Now,
He does
before this play comes down, before that TP comes down, let's look at the side waves, right? Because this is, I mean, Direwolves needs to be paying attention to this. Echo's pushing top side. They have a ticking time bomb top, so that's fine. Slow bot lane is slow pushing towards Legacy. You can send someone bot and deal with it, but I think that one's fine. They don't need to send anyone there into that lane yet. So Legacy is going to be pushing towards this tower, and they're going to be trying to force a siege when their bot lane's pushing in on them, but their top lane needs maybe one or two more waves to push top. So theoretically, Direwolves has some time. Not only do they have time, but they actually have wards for flank. They have one ward here on the left side of the mid lane, and actually two wards on the left side mid lane. Though this one's actually a lot harder to use if they were to flank. And of course the ward that he ends up using. Wait, no, I'm stupid. No, I'm stupid. I'm retarded. Different colors. That's actually these are Legacy's wards. So they don't have many wards. They can use either, of course, the Fizz one, where he's TPing to right now, or the pretty far away, the one here that's fairly far away. It's still fine. You can use this as like they won't see it, and that's the value of these TPs. Like it doesn't matter how far away as long as it's there's no vision on it, so they can't like disengage. The TP that he ends up using right now is of course in
looking for
vision, so they can
teleport coming
disengage
through.
fairly out. Oh,
The
actually, but
Direwolves
it's
with
difficult because
Fantix here.
Kindred is in the
They're
opposite
going for
direction
carbon.
of his team.
Looks like Choo Choo's doing
Yeah,
what he can. Carbon,
Legacy
he's running ring
was
around
running
the
away
rosy
with this
here, but
game,
he's going to be main focal point. Doesn't get the Lambs to spite down in
and
time.
then they
But Choo Choo's
separate
doing
each other.
so much
They
damage
separated
to
themselves.
answer it. The Chaos Storm's
That
not
kinda
going to be
hurts.
even in the center of the fight, and Direwolves answer with two.
They actually get carbon before he drops the Lamb's Respite.
Yeah,
And Tally
he
before
couldn't
he
use
can
Lamb's
use
Respite.
the
Though,
ultimate himself.
I feel like if
Legacy
he
aren't
had
gonna
used
back
Lamb's
down.
Respite, he was
They're really
still
looking for something here.
not, like,
Monsoon
they still
has
would have
used at
lost
the end of
that,
the line,
so
going to be enough to finish them off. King
maybe
able
it's for the
to
best.
take out the
Oh,
Fizz,
they
but
just,
now
okay,
he's
they're
looking
getting,
should do it.
somehow
Look at
Direwolves are
it
back in the
kept them.
game because
Legacy
of that
unforced,
nonsense.
everything like that. Committing to on the side. 3v5 after that.
They're just
They
gonna
had more focus
disengage.
on the field.
Yep,
But since
exactly
they
right. Direwolves
disengage
doing what the
fairly
Rift
late,
Herald's
right?
doing and taking
And
out
Legacy,
Carbon.
this is really scary by the way. So this is a small point that I'm gonna make.
Unfortunately,
Does
Now
knock
okay,
out
so
the
they
Fizz,
take
but
the
now
fight,
his attack should do
they
it.
kill
The round
Ezreal, and they start pushing down mid. This is when you should be looking at the enemy respawn times because you should recognize that you don't want to be out on the map too late when you need to reset, right? So think of it this way. Okay, they take this turret, right? Fizz is dead, has 10 seconds. They back, all of them are gonna be back. So right now on the map, um, Kindred's on the map, Tally's on the map, Minky Whale's gonna be on the map. So you don't want to lose too much because worst case scenario, and this is like worst of the worst cases, you're gonna lose Baron because they can go for the Baron and rush it. They have a Earth Dragon, but it's not gonna be. This is not the worst case, right? They shouldn't get it. That's not gonna happen. The common case is that if you reset too late, they're already on the map. Common case is that you lose all the vision that you already fought for. That you fought for and you got this vision control and you're like, man, we kept our tempo strong. We just need to refocus on our reset timings, right? So we can keep these wards up for life. Now, of course, you're going to be end up moving up those pink wards. But if you just lose that vision that you fought for free, just because you had bad reset timings, that's just sad. Alright, so that's okay. So that just happened. So they got Victor and they're gonna go for Baron. I feel like that's not a good idea. Victor, so it's 23 minutes in, they only have one Earth Dragon, and Fantix is fairly low. He doesn't have ulti. I guess they still have Kuden, Raze, and Chip. So they still have a decent front line. So if they focus on turning, oh, okay. If they focus on turning, then they should still win. Right now, no, go. Wait, what? 80 carries? Hello? Okay, let's see. Bam. Cybele and Raze are on the opposite side of this. So they need to turn. I 100% believe that they need to turn this. Because if they, like, especially, like, let's just see if they win this fight. Okay, they turn now. They just need to focus on their positioning when they do that because oh, see this is the sad point of going. Oh my God! Oh, the Janna heal, the Victor TP. Oh, yeah, okay. So that's playing with fire right there. One thing you need to worry about is that Ezreal is pretty much the AD carry version of Cassidy. Once you have your full build, or not even your full build, you just have like 2 items, right? You just have your 2 item spike. Then you will be able to chase down almost any fight to the ends of the earth. You just Q, E, reset, off of cooldown because you Q, you know, just pretty much like, yeah, forever. So there you have that, of course, and you have Echo who can constantly chase. So you never want to be putting yourself in a sticky situation. You don't want to put yourself in a bad position, right? You just have to think about your position. And if you take the fight, you take the fight. But right now, I think they weren't in position of being able to turn. They weren't in position, not at all. They were in position of just like burning down the dragon. I mean the Baron. But they didn't. They ended up turning anyways. So it was just unclean. They need like a team's. This is really important because pretty much games are decided based off of Baron runs, right? So as a team, you should constantly look at your Barons and figure whether your positioning on it was right and what you're even looking to do, right? If you're looking to burn down Baron, then fine, do it and have someone isolate Kindred. If you're not, if the call is to stick on is to turn, then you just need to be in position to turn. Oh well.
12 kills to 9, so they've had the lead all game long.
Let's just blow through this. Next objective is Dragon. 30 seconds on it. Right now, Legacy have a pretty comfortable lead, but they just need to worry about Fizz right now. At this point in time, if Fizz ever gets a flank on Ezreal, like Ezreal has a lot of, Ezreal and Victor, but like if you kill Ezreal early on in this, you should be able to eke
Few
out
fights ago
a
wasn't able to get his ultimate
victory.
off in time. The Dragon, just
Yeah,
about
team
5
fight win.
seconds. It is going to be a
So, okay, so we'll start this. Where's Fizz? Fizz is with the team. I think Fizz shouldn't be with the team. I think Fizz shouldn't even like. There's no value in Fizz autoing, right?
take that one for
The
themselves, but it
dragon.
looks like Legacy, they've got
If
their
they're
sights set
looking
on
to like, okay. So if direwolves are looking to just take dragon and run, then they should take dragon and run. But if they're looking for the fight with dragon, Fizz should not be with the team. He should be looking to like cut around the enemy jungle to get a flank, because you can't go all in on this composition. Not only do they have Victor W, not only do they have Ezreal, who's going to be, he has this safety of his front line, so you can kind of like Q and E away. Like he has so much freedom if he only has one direction he needs to focus on. And of course, we have the zones with Echo, but the biggest point, of course, is Janna. Janna has ulti and Janna has Q. So like there's a lot, like right here, he ends up getting he actually gets, holy moly, he destroys King, but King's gonna heal right back up. So, see, like, Fizz can do so much damage to this guy. He just needs, if they had the focus of looking to turn that fight, or like pick the fight, right, because they have a good team fight comp, then they should just look for it. But it felt like they were trying to do two things at the same time, which has pretty much been the case of the entire game. They get a good lead off of their lane swap, and then they try to do too much, but at the same time not do much at all. It's like, it's just classic case of indecisiveness. How do they even win this game right now? Okay, so Legacy is going to be top side. Oh, look, okay. So how did that start? Fizz is threatening bot, okay. But there's not much you can do with that. Oh, they try to make a pick on Carbon, and they kind of butcher it. And Carbon just destroys Raze. So, let's see. Nothing happens, okay, so nothing happens. Raze is not gonna back, because of course that wave still needs tending to. They can just take, oh, okay. So, small point. It's a very small point, but if this is a massive wave, right? This is the wave that you want to be taking this turret on. So TP onto the minion that's getting the tower damage, so it doesn't take damage. So you want to protect that wave at all costs, right? Because you want to see how much you're gonna get off this wave. Like SKT is a great example of a team that once they get Baron, they can pretty much get that one push win, because they can protect that one wave straight to the Nexus, right? Well, there are a few games I can show later on, but so for this one, you want to protect this wave. So it's like TP to the lane to the minion that's just getting attention from. So that's a small point. They just push them off and get some kills on the way. Is this game over off that? No, they're gonna do the same thing. Actually, this is gonna disengage. Wait, aren't they topside? Darrell's is topside.
Let's see how Legacy play this.
Why is Kuden bot? With the split pusher, right?
I can think of absolutely zero reasons why that side of the map is where he chose to be. Because firstly, that's the Legacy side of the map.
I love it. I wonder if what Rusty just said came through. But yeah, pretty much, like, there's no reason for him to be there. But I guess the game, they probably tilted. This game seems unwinnable at this point. It's a 10k lead.
They don't engage now, Direwolves.
You missed fish? Alright, whatever.
Fish right now.
I don't know, it's not even like, they're just desperate at this point. They're so far behind that they needed to make anything happen and get that kill. To like find a way to break tempo, because if you're in a desperate position, of course, then just do anything to break that tempo. Like right here. Break that tempo! Oh, okay, Kindred ulti. This is why you value Kindred. Kill Kuden. Tally on the side, 3v1ing. Well, actually, yes, choose then. Carbon, I can't say that. King is just trying to get these people. Alright, wait. Alright, game's over. Alright, so I mentioned a lot of mistakes, a lot of pluses. It's just, so, as you can tell, there are many reasons why Oceania as a region needs a lot of work. So there's just a lot of, basically I think Direwolves has a solid understanding of the early game.
was a
Oh, yeah.
few
Well, no, no, no,
mechanical
that's a lie.
mistakes here
I
and
mean, I
there, but
already pointed out
overall
a
just
lot
a
of the
strong
poor points in
performance
the
from
early game,
Legacy
right?
with a
But it was
small
better
gold advantage of about
relatively than Legacy,
3,000
which is
to
a
actually just start
problem
sieging inner turrets and take.
for a region if comparatively you're better. So like, how are they gonna learn, right? So they just need to look. This is when you just look at VODs, pretty much. You want a larger goal rather than your own region. So you just work on that. So this was my VOD review of Legacy vs. Star Wars. Hopefully I wasn't too negative in criticisms. I probably was. That's something I need to work on. But yeah, thank you for watching the video. Hopefully it wasn't too long, and if you stuck by through the end, then you are a king. Yeah. Yeah, just sit on that throne. Thank you.